Vast inequalities of wealth would lead to inequalities of power. The secret to Marxism is he was right when considering a profane liberal society.
What human history shows is people like having their own things. Actual socialism, the denial of private property and rights, doesn't work economically and produces human misery.
Marxist socialism was the prevailing ideology in one of the most powerful countries in the world, the Soviet Union.
Stalin took very seriously the idea that socialism needs to transform human nature. And
what drew me to this topic initially is that, in many ways, the story of this island directly mirrors the story of Japan as a nation. In the late 1800s, Japan experienced an industrial revolution that fundamentally transformed the country. Japan moved from being a nation rooted in agriculture to become a major industrial power. Railroads were constructed, factories sprung up, shipyards were established, and all this change required energy, which led to the establishment of new mines across the country, including on Hashima. Coal was discovered down in the seabed beneath this rugged island in the 1800s, and the rapidly growing Mitsubishi Corporation caught wind of this discovery and bought the entire island to mine the coal to use as fuel for its expanding fleet of steamships. And just as coal mining on the island was booming, coal production in all of Japan was breaking records. In 1874, Japan extracted 208,000 tons of coal. By 1890, this figure had surged to
At the heart of Southeast Asia, there's a city too strange to believe. Huge 20-lane highways completely empty. Massive temples, no one in sight. It's 4 times the size of London, 6 times the size of New York. But apparently, nobody is living here. 2 years ago, we mentioned this city in a video. It was viewed by 46 million people, all of them stunned to hear about the strangest capital on Earth. Now, we've decided to take a deep dive into the city of Naypyidaw. We hope you're ready for a crazy video, because the more you know about this city, the stranger the story gets. Naypyidaw is the capital city of Myanmar. It's a forested country in Southeast Asia with 50 million inhabitants. Remember that video we spoke about? That almost got as many views as Myanmar's current population. You might know the country by a different name, especially if you were around before 1989. Back then, Myanmar was called Burma, and this is actually pretty controversial. The name was changed to Myanmar by a military dictatorship that forced its way into power way back in the 1960s. A lot of people didn't think this regime had the right to change the country's name, but the United Nations called a country Myanmar, so that's the name we'll be rolling with too. Now, let's talk about Naypyidaw, the strangest capital on Earth. Here's a satellite image of the city. It has a total area, give or take, of 7,000 square kilometers. As we mentioned earlier, that's several times bigger than London or New York. A similar sized city, but still a bit smaller, is Shanghai. But there's a major difference between Naypyidaw and Shanghai. Shanghai's population is 26 million, whereas Naypyidaw has less than 1 million current inhabitants. It makes the place feel like a ghost town, a ghost megacity, something straight out of a post-apocalyptic film. The roads are vast, with 20 lanes in some places, but completely empty of vehicles. A truck might occasionally trundle through, but it will usually have the entire road to itself. The parks and gardens are the same. So are the malls, the golf course, the zoo. Even the city's most famous landmark, the Upatasanti Pagoda, is deserted. There's an airport with space for several million passengers, but on a busy day, there are rarely more than a couple hundred people. There are also dozens of extravagant luxury hotels, but the pools are deserted and most rooms have never even been used. In fact, the only people you're likely to see are gardeners and street cleaners. This is the big difference between Naypyidaw and a post-apocalyptic city. The capital is maintained to immaculate standards by an army of workers. There are workers in the shops as well. In 2015, two Guardian journalists paid a visit to the city and described a jewelry store. There are dozens of people working here, but no customers. It's completely silent. The population has risen a bit since 2015. Back then, Naypyidaw was even more of a ghost city, with less than 400,000 citizens. But it's still eerie to think about, and this capital gets stranger yet. There's
Have you been sitting on a smart business idea and need to get it online? GoDaddy makes it fast and easy with user-friendly products and tools to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. Plus, get AI to help build your business for you with the all-new GoDaddy Aero experience. Start for free at godaddy.com.
There's one other place where you're likely to see some people. The city is home to Myanmar's parliament, a sprawling complex of extravagant and identical-looking buildings surrounded by fences and moats. It's hard to get close to this complex. There are soldiers posted all around it. But who are they really expected to stop when there's nobody else around? There are rumors that these high-security buildings are connected to a network of underground tunnels that stretch beneath the city. Supposedly, these tunnels were designed with the help of North Korean technicians. These rumors are